Conservatives are pushing for Pierre Poilievre to start a Canadian version of DOGE. And this is literally being pushed by people who run one of the largest conservative conventions in the country. So why don't we talk about the conservative playbook for bringing DOGE to Canada, because it's pretty messed up. And Harper's former chief of staff, Ian Brody, said that there's no reason why the Conservatives couldn't move quickly, even more quickly than Musk did in the US. And Pierre has already suggested $75 billion in tax cuts, which could lead him to cutting 17,000 federal worker jobs. And this was all said at the Canada Strong and Free Network conference, a conservative group that used to be led by Jamil Jivani, who is now a conservative member of parliament and one of Pierre's closest allies. Oh, and he also bragged about being JD Vance's best friend. They talk about how basically starting in week 1, they would get the Privy Council under control, and then in week 2, they would get their ministers to basically just start going nuts. Because unlike in the States, a lot of the stuff isn't controlled by Congress, so, the Prime Minister could just do whatever they want and just start cutting people, stating the importance of how it's only politically viable if you do it very early in the mandate, immediately. And they talk about how in an afternoon they could easily come up with just $20 billion in cuts, just like that. And how do you manage the opponents to this? You cut their funding at the same time as cutting funding for everything else. You cut these groups at the same time as you're doing all kinds of other policy changes that they're going to dislike, so they don't know which way to look. You're pursuing a whole kind of big agenda. They literally just want to cause chaos. And then when the public is asking where this is coming from, they basically just say, oh, AI. You'll be able to give yourself that political cover as well, because when you're justifying certain policies that you are principled on, you just have the hard data to present it and back it up. With a large Canadian conservative creator who is a fixture at Poilievre rallies saying that Pierre needs to start talking about forming a DOGE in Canada, saying that Pierre needs to be the one to lead this movement, and that post has more than 10,000 likes on Twitter. Pierre's supporters, Pierre himself, and Pierre's closest allies are all pushing for a DOGE-like mandate in Canada. Because that's going so well in the States, right? That's what we want to have here, right?